Alright, tonight we're going to make a homemade pizza crust. We're going to do a BLT pizza. It's going to be really good, so let's get this thing started. Here's what we're going to do. Bread flour. It's going to take right around 3 cups of bread flour. I've experimented with different flours. This bread flour seems to do the best, so I know you're going to tell me that I'm not doing my measurements just right, but I'm not really into measurements, so we're going to get this close. We probably won't use all of the water. That's usually how it works out. Get a good scoop there. Alright, that's our 3 cups of flour. Now don't put your flour up just yet, because if you happen to put too much water in it, then you're going to want to put a little bit more flour in it. So that's why I said it's kind of a, I'm going to go by feel here a little bit. Now I have a teaspoon. And we're going to put a teaspoon of everything, all these other ingredients in. So we have a teaspoon of sugar. And this is garlic powder. We're going to put in a teaspoon of that. Maybe a little extra garlic good. And then this is regular iodized table salt. We're going to put a teaspoon of that in. This is basil. We're going to put a teaspoon of that in. And the last one, this is whole oregano, and we're going to put a teaspoon of that in. Okay, so that's pretty much all of the dry ingredients except for some activated yeast. Good luck finding this at the store. I think it has something to do with the Kung Flu too, so people buying up all this stuff. Alright, that's our yeast. I think it's like 1 1/4 teaspoon in this package. If I can get it all out of there. I think it all came out. Make sure we're going to call that all the way out. So mix all this stuff together. We'll mix our dry ingredients together here. Now, we've got to add water. You gotta get that water at around 115 degrees. I'm gonna put it in the microwave for about 45 seconds. You always want to mix your dry ingredients together before you put any liquids in. So now we're just waiting on the water. Let me play the Jeopardy song. Yeah, alright, let's see what the temperature is on the water. I don't think it's hot enough yet. Now this water, this is a little bit less than 2 cups. The recipe actually called for like, I think 1.8, or it was a crazy measurement. So it's at 102. We're going to give this about 10 or 15 more seconds. The thing with yeast is it's alive. So you got to have warm enough water to put in it to activate it. But if you put in too hot water, kill the yeast and you won't get any, I guess, any rising action. Because we're going to let this, stuff raise twice. So you definitely got to have the yeast activated and working right for us. Alright, it's at 109. That's probably warm enough. Alright, next thing we're going to do is add some olive oil. We want like a teaspoon and a half. So I'm going to do a teaspoon, part of another teaspoon. I'm going to lay that in that bowl because we ended up putting olive oil in that bowl anyway. So here we go. Remember, oil and water do not mix. Just don't mix enough for this. So, now when I mix this, I come from the outside. It's kind of like when you're doing biscuits. You kind of take your outside and roll it into the middle. It's pretty easy. I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully you can see it. If you notice, I spin the bowl at the same time I scrape on the outside and toss it back into the middle. So we need just a little bit more liquid. You just want to keep adding it like this. Just a little bit more. A little bit more. We're getting close. I've also kind of discovered that you want this to be a little bit on the wet side because it seems like if you leave it dry, the yeast doesn't work quite as well. I have noticed that. And that's probably getting close to what we're going to need. Yeah, it's getting really close. So, I don't know if you can see this, but this is about what you want. It's pretty wet, and that's really what you want. And it's warm, I can feel it. It's warm. Alright. This next part here, will be a little messy for us. First thing I want to do, get this out of the way while my hands are partially clean. This bowl right here is going to be for where the dough is going to sit for the next 2 hours while it raises twice. So for the next few minutes, and this gets a little messy, you just want to take and kind of work it with your hands. Scrape the stuff off the sides. been some people that will do this for as long as 5 or 6 minutes. I usually do it for 2 or 3. Alright. So now we're going to take our mixed up pizza crust here, our dough. I'm going to put over here into our oil.
You're on.
Yeah, I may have missed everything. Okay, we're back. Yeah, slight malfunction with the camera. We aren't sure what we got at this time. Guess we'll find out tomorrow when I look at it. But you want to get the rest of your stuff out of this other bowl and into this bowl. Hopefully you got to see me knead it for 2 or 3 minutes. You got to see me clean my hands with the flour, and they were really bad. I mean, it still looked bad, but they were gooey. They were as bad as this. And I just put some flour on my hand, which is the flour sitting on top of this right now. So, all right. Here's the next little thing. Get the spray right here. Take some plastic. Piece big enough to cover it. Get some non-stick spray. Right down on top of your flour. Right on top of your little dough ball. Now don't push it in tight and don't seal it at the top. There's only one reason that's there, and I'm going to show you why that's there here in about 2 seconds. The next step in this process is wrap them up in a couple towels. Alright, now this is ready to set for an hour. And you need to put it kind of in a, I'm not going to tell you a hot place in your home, but some place that it can stay warm. And a cooler works out really well. I have a warming box that I use for my barbecue. So we're just going to set it right down into the warming box. We're going to shut it in there. And we'll come back to that here in about an hour, and what we're going to do is push it down and let it rise a second time. So in the meantime, I'm going to fry up some bacon, because this, by the way, is a BLT. We'll be back in a few. Alright, here we go. We're going to see what it looks like. It's been an hour. We want to get it out from under the towels. And what we got to do, we got to poke it down. And if this worked right, you're going to see why we put that piece of plastic on the top. Yeah, see how much it rose? So, pull the plastic off. That's why we put the non-stick spray. So we're going to just punch it down. Just deflate it. Alright, now I'm going to put the plastic back on top of it. Remember, you just want it as a barrier between the dough and the towels. We're going to wrap this back up and put it back to sleep for another hour, and when that is done, we'll come back and see you again. Alright, here's our dough. The second rise is done. I've already oiled up our pizza pans. And we're going to grab out here about a third of this. Put on these. Get some of this out of here. Just a little bit more. Alright, here we go. Start smashing this out. You put your dough in the middle and then you start pushing it out on the sides, or towards the sides. Kind of go towards, from the middle out to the outer edges. Don't give up when it doesn't look like it's going to make it, because it'll make it. Just a matter of getting it pressed out there. At it and then that stuff. You're doing really good here. Now you're going to go to places like this that has a hole. Just kind of push your dough over that direction. And fill that hole in, then you're going to pinch it shut. And look, the hole's gone. Just that easy. Now I've got my oven preheated to 450 degrees. And we're going to bake those until the crust starts to turn golden a little bit. Probably going to take about, I don't know, 12 minutes. Right around 12 minutes, maybe, we'll say between 12 and 15. Alright. There's our first one. That's what we're going to use. I'm going to put a little bit of mozzarella on it. That hole in it. Now, it depends how much cheese you like. I like cheese, so plenty of cheese on this. Alright. Now, the only other thing we're going to put on this one here is some bacon. Just a little bit of bacon. Well, a lot of bacon. This is BLT. We like bacon. That's looking good. Now the last thing I want to do before this goes in the oven get a brush here. While you weren't looking, I made up some garlic butter. This is real simple. I guess you could call it a compound butter. All it's got in it is butter, garlic, and a little bit of parsley. Just kind of want to taste it until. But what you want to do this for is so that you know when the crust is done. So you kind of want to put it around the outside edge here. When that starts to turn golden brown, means your pizza's about done, and you can start checking your crust. And I'll show you that here in a minute when we get to that point. So, kind of got it. We're ready to go into the oven. So I'm going to throw this in the oven, and I'm going to get the other one ready to go. And when that one comes out, this one will go in. This is our lid for our BLT, so I'll be back in just a few.
We're on.
Alright, here's our second crust. This is going to be the lid of our BLT. I took a third of the crust, and we put the cheese and the bacon on it. It's in the oven right now. I think it's got about 5 minutes left. I took the second third of the dough. This is going to be our lid. And I brushed it with our garlic butter. Okay, then I took it, I made 3, basically they're going to be breadsticks. So we're going to brush these with my garlic butter. But just garlic butter is real easy to make. It's just garlic and a little bit of parsley. I mean, it's that simple. Just make sure you get enough garlic in it. And I mean, probably want it to taste just a little bit root of garlic, so just a little bit garlic strong. So our 12 minutes is going to be up here in just a few. When that's up, we'll come back and I'll show you the bottom. We'll put the other one in, and yeah, we'll be right back. All right, just pulled the first half of this out. Got the second. I got the lid in, but I don't know if you can see this color on this crust. That's about perfect. That's golden brown. We're going to let that sit for a while the other one cooks. And we still got these to cook. They're probably going to take 12 minutes anyway when they cook too. So, hey, just wanted to show you what we got going on and how good the crust came out. So we'll be back in just a few when we put it all together. Alright, we got the lid out. The top. Just the crust alone. It went about 9 minutes, 10 minutes, and you can see it looks really good. So, the next step in our BLT is a little bit of mayo. And this is mayo. This ain't Miracle Whip. This is the real deal Holyfield right here. along there. Alright, we're doing good. So the next thing we gotta do, take our lettuce and tomato, spread it around. Last step is just take this, put it down on top of it, and there's our BLT. We'll be back in a minute just to give you a bite and see what it looks like. Okay, just pull the breadsticks out. You can see how big they got. Just look at that. I mean, they're done. So I threw the BLT pizza back in for just a minute to melt the garlic butter on the top. We'll be back in just a minute or so, and we'll show you what it looks like. Okay, here we go. I put this back in for like a minute or so. I wanted to melt the garlic butter that I put on the top of this crust, so we're going to start cutting into this. Now when you're cutting this, you kind of got to be mindful, and I've said this before if you've watched any of my other pizza videos, you can't just go straight across because you'll just shove everything out the other side of it. So, just kind of want to good. Cut this one in half here. Alright, it's ready to put it on a plate. Let's get a plate. Fork. Now you don't have to put the top crust on here. You could actually make two of these and just do the bottom. Oh, it's really good. And don't forget, we got breadsticks. I guarantee you these are really good too. And look, they're just good. You've got some pizza sauce and or some spaghetti sauce or anything you want to dip it into. It's up to you. So till next time.